And now, an 8th special presentation.
Coming up on Art Beat Nation. Meet an artist who uses his personal experience to capture his adopted city.
This project just started out as a diary for me. It's like my way of writing what's happening to me.
See how the jazz age hits Downton Abbey and Broadway.
My wish for the show that it would be inspired by period, not bound by period.
Be inspired by art teachers who care.
There's a start to everything, and even in my classroom, I hope that they learn that something is a start to something greater.
And see a rock star reveal his first love.
I don't want people to know that I'm there. I want to be invisible.
It's all ahead on this edition of Art Beat Nation. Funding for Art Beat Nation was made possible by contributions to 8 from viewers like you. Thank you. Illustrator James Gulliver Hancock needed a way to cope with his move from Australia to New York City. As a child, Hancock used whimsical drawings as a way to communicate, so he decided to continue his creative practice to capture New York City buildings and has never looked back.
I don't really have a favourite building. They're all my favourite when I'm drawing them, you know. It's the one that I'm in front of that I'm in love with at the particular time. You know, it's easy to say the classic buildings or, you know, the brownstones and stuff like that, but yeah, it's really, that's what's the beauty of New York, that everything seems different all the time. When you stop and pay attention to a different thing, something else is different and interesting. It's changing all the time. So I'm attempting to draw all the buildings in New York. I'm not from New York, I'm an Australian, and I came here a few years ago. And I've always used drawing as a way to understand what's around me. And New York was pretty overwhelming when I arrived, so I thought I'd do that here. And drawing buildings helps me make a map of the place for myself and understand it better. So drawing buildings was really obvious to me. It was such a symbol of the place, you know, growing up watching TV, seeing brownstones on Sesame Street and other things in film. The first building I drew was down in Carroll Gardens where we first moved, and it was a quick black and white sketch of probably of the building we were living in. It was a classic sort of 4-story building with a little shop down the bottom and apartments up the top. So this project just started out as a diary for me. It's like my way of writing what's happening to me. I don't use words, so I use pictures instead. So it just started as a journal. I just wanted to record what I was seeing and have a memory of it more than a photograph. And it was really useful in that respect because it made me stop and look a bit more than I would otherwise. So you see all these little details around you and pay attention to things that you otherwise wouldn't. It's fascinating here how there's all different types of buildings on one street. So there'll be, you know, 2 townhouses, then a weird old church, and then a really contemporary construction. And that juxtaposition usually is what pulled something out for me. I've probably drawn so far over 1,000. I'm not sure exactly how many. I'm not very good at keeping count. I just keep drawing and save them somewhere. I have no idea how long it's going to take to draw all the buildings, but if you did the math, I guess, so someone said there's like 900,000 in, I think it's just Manhattan or something like that. So if I'm doing one a day, it's 365 buildings a year times however many. I don't know, it's like 3,000 years or something, so we'll see.
To learn more, visit jamesgulliverhancock.com. Across the pond, jazz music is taking over Broadway in the production of After Midnight. Meet the director, choreographer, and one of the show's lead dancers who discusses how, through the ages, jazz has made an impact on culture both here and abroad.
After midnight, early blue evening, lights ain't come on yet. Coming on now.
After Midnight is a musical that is based on Harlem Renaissance, 1930s. And it's essentially, I think, it's the journey of many characters coming to the Cotton Club. This was a place where a lot of African Americans used to dance and sing and act. Out of the slavery, out of the migration, out of all of that became this surge of creativity in the African American world.
Jazz, this Duke Ellington especially, I loved it. I'd always been aware of it. I'd always listened to it. It's always been in my subconscious somewhere. But researching the show, I absolutely fell in love with this music all over again. It is unbelievable. It's unbelievably powerful and evocative, and it sounds to me like dialogue. It sounds like beautiful women. It sounds like men having a conversation. It's very easy to create to this music. It's interesting in approaching the show. There are some things in After Midnight that are absolutely period correct. There is some movement, and some of those vocals are period correct for the 1930s. Absolutely, there is not a step that is not from the 30s in some of those numbers. In other places, I wanted to make a show for my generation and younger than me. I didn't want to do a dusty old museum piece. I really didn't, and I don't think this music is dusty or old. I think this music is so vibrant and so alive. My wish for the show that it would be inspired by period, not bound by period.
What is the improvisation in a place where you do a show 8 shows a week? There's got to be a structure. We all are following a very sturdy structure, but it's based on jazz, and it's based on the idea that at one point there will be an improvisation. So we are all eventually waiting for it. The strategy is there to support the improvisation. And whoever's gonna catch this, right? Because it's cut in many different ways. It can be cut by the trombones, or maybe it's cut by someone's voice. Maybe it's just cut by someone's tap shoe. Like, instead of going pa-pa, they're gonna go pa-pa-pa-pa, and you're like, whoa! You're like, immediately everybody perks up because it's unusual. So it keeps us on our toes a lot.
Midnight, Harlem. Once it was true. In 1932, Harlem's heartbeat was a drumbeat.
One of the other things that was very important to me in After Midnight was actually having spoken word. I wanted to bring in Langston Hughes, which just seemed the perfect choice for the show. I think in an evening where there's a lot of music, I think it was very important to go to zero and actually go to spoken word. In some way it resets the audience, it makes them listen again, they start to reattack, the ear reattacks when you have to listen to spoken word. And Langston's poetry is very evocative, it's all about images, it creates tone.
I believe. Why the audience is why are we so riveted? Because in the line of jazz, there is a golden thread that is called freedom. And I do believe jazz was built on the oppression, at the time of the oppression of the African Americans. So there was a time where the spirit itself was not free. And out of that came this amazing surge, this amazing dedication for freedom. Then became the scatting and the this and the that, the rhythm, and next thing you know, jazz was there. That is what the audience is being moved by. I am totally convinced by it. The same way we are moved by it. So it's like you don't contain it, you can't. You can only be ready for it, right? You can only be available for it. And the audience, for some weird reason, they know it the moment they sit down. Even before Dule speaks, there's something in the air originally that is already like, we feel them, they feel us, we feel the orchestra, we're like, oh, let's go. Do you know what I mean? So I wanted to say that the notion of freedom and the concept of freedom is what I feel is running the show.
To learn more, visit AfterMidnightBroadway.com. A group of Philadelphia art teachers is making sure that kids are getting exposed to art inside and outside the classroom. They have formed Fresh Artists, a non-profit organization that introduces children to art in a fresh way. Learn more next.
Fresh Artists is a nonprofit that was started in Philadelphia in 2008, and it was started because we saw something broken, something that needed to be fixed.
Please excuse the interruption. Art will be held in the classroom.
Art being challenged and removed, supplies being removed from the shelves of the public schools in Philadelphia, and we saw teachers being stressed with the lack of resources.
Everything is on Fish Station for you. I was lucky to have a school that really wanted to have art making in their school. Here we go. All the painters sit together if you're at that stage so that you can share the same materials to make kids creative. The only thing that we focus on right now is reading, math, and science. But what my principal, Mr. Evans, and our leadership team really focus on is that there are other things, and kids have to be creative, because if they're not, then they're unable to do other things, because they're constantly searching for what's the right answer instead of what are all of the possibilities and what are all of the right answers.
We had just done a big project to decorate the 440 North Broad Street, which is the headquarters of the School District of Philadelphia. Instead of framing small pieces of children's art and putting it on the wall in a predictable way, we came up with an idea of digitizing the art, taking a really, really high resolution photograph and blowing the things up really huge. We decorated the whole building, 850,000 square feet. One day we realized, what about starting a nonprofit so that if children would donate the use of these beautiful images, we would go to big corporations and businesses and ask them for donations. We would take the donations and pour the money directly into art supplies and innovative art programs in the city. Then we would give the people who made the donations art for their walls.
Cooks?
Yes.
Repeat after me. We are.
We are.
The French Laundry.
The French Laundry.
And we are.
And we are.
The best.
The best.
And we.
And we.
Act like it.
And we act like it.
Cooks?
Cook.
I've worked at Southwest Leadership Academy for about a year, and actually teachers always need a second job. I've been working in Philadelphia's restaurant industry for about 11 years. I work at Zahav as a food runner, and I work at Pub and Kitchen as a server. And I came up with this idea that I wanted kids to be able to experience what going to a restaurant feels like, and that culture of sitting down and having a great meal. So I approached Barbara and Fresh Artists to say, I have this really weird idea. I want to have my kids understand the connection between still life and food.
Mini Masterpieces is a very interesting program where we take kids into museums to look at masterpieces. Then they create a masterpiece of their own.
The Fresh Artists Collaborative Palettes to Palettes is really a huge project that goes in 4 phases. Phase 1 is the students going to the Barnes Foundation to study still life and food. Now you're going to break this part down into a basic just pull footage. Phase 2 is for the students to go to the restaurants and have still life set up by world-class photographers, Michael Persico and Susan Beard. Eat with the chefs, meet the chefs, and have the chef's signature dish. Phase 3 is the students coming back to Southwest Leadership Academy and making art for about 2 to 3 months based on the still life that they saw at their restaurants.
Small square tables. The walls were beautiful because that was my favorite color, blue. The tables were set really nicely. Behind the tables, they had our project that we were supposed to draw. It was called Duck L'Orange. On the plate, it had the duck, Brussels sprouts, and black garlic on the sides. At first, I was pretty nervous on what colors to add, so I asked my teacher, Miss Watson, what colors, and she told me that I needed to go with some warm colors and some cool colors. So for my background, I used a cool color. And I used that color because it makes the images pop.
Running a classroom like a kitchen operates on French military systems of organization. So when I say cooks, it's yes, chef, or if you're in the military, it's yes, sir, very immediately. It's that system of respect, the system of hierarchy. I have chef de cuisines who are 2 people that can walk around the classroom and get things for other people. They know where everything is. I have sous chefs who are table captains and who take care of, really picking up for others that, do slack in terms of cleanup. And then everyone else is a line cook that is generally constantly working at a quiet intensity of we work hard, we work clean, and we work fast, and we're producing artwork. And if you want to be a doctor, you got to be an intern. And if you want to be a lawyer, you got to, push file paper everywhere. There's a start to everything, and even in my classroom, I hope that they learn that something is a start to something greater.
I went to Sprague. The chef that I met was Kevin Sprague. I was very, very shocked that I was going to be standing in front of him at the time, but it was a good experience to be there. Kevin expressed his thoughts about what it is as far as space and timing and pace matching in the kitchen. Yeah, and then we had a tour around the actual restaurant, and then we were seated to start our drawing of the food that was being placed in front of us.
Once the class is finished with the artwork, then we will take the artwork to the chefs. Each chef will pick their choix de chef, the chef's choice. Mm-hmm. Those pieces will be rescanned, and we will start to produce that large image in our workshop at Fresh Artists. There will be a big community art show at the school mm-hmm. in June. We've been invited to bring some of the community that has supported DIVA and Fresh Artists in the city, led by Gary Stoyer, the mayor's cultural officer, to a party at Le Bec Fin, which will occur in June, and where the entire body of the project will be shown.
Whoa, that looks so much nicer.
Look.
Wow. That looks so nice.
Look at this.
That looks beautiful.
Isn't it interesting when it blows up? It's so different, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is real empowerment when you take this in tomorrow.
People feel very powerless sometimes being a teacher in Philadelphia, especially at this time. And I feel like Fresh Artists and the restaurant industry really have my back. So I feel very powerful in a somewhat, I would say, powerless situation.
To learn more, visit freshartists.org. Graham Nash is well known for being a founding member of the Hollies as well as Crosby, Stills and Nash. But what many fans may not know is that Nash got his start as a photographer. Take a look.
The Morrison Gallery, an exhibit filled with familiar faces in the crowd and on the walls. But the creator of these images might surprise.
I've been a photographer longer than I've been a musician. I started making music when I was about 13. I started taking photographs when I was just over 10 years old. I have a book out called Eye to Eye, and the first portrait in there is a shot of my mother that I took when I was 11.
A gift from father to son.
We were a very poor family, and one of the joys in his life was to take his kids out to the zoo and take pictures of them and develop them in we lived in what's called 2 up, 2 down. It was 2 small rooms downstairs and 2 small rooms upstairs, and 1,000 of them in a row, you know. But he would come home from the zoo having taken pictures, and he would take the blanket off my bed and put it up against the window to block out the light. And he showed me the magic of photography, and I've never forgotten that moment to this day.
Another exact moment in time sent Graham on a leap of faith that changed his course and the soundtrack of his life.
I think leaps of faith are based on something. I had heard me and David and Stephen sing. And when I decided that I would have to leave the Hollies and I went back to town, people said, "Oh, you're leaving the bloody Hollies? Are you daft? All that money and fame and girls, are you crazy?" But they had not heard what I had heard. I had heard me and David and Stephen sing together. There was no choice in my life.
In the morning, when you rise, do you think of me and how you left me crying?
We were doing a song called You Don't Have to Cry. It's a beautiful song that Stephen wrote. And we were at Joni's house, and they sang this song. We were, hey, play Willie that song. So they played it, and they did it beautiful in 2-part harmony. And I said, first of all, great song, fantastic. Sing it again. And they sang it again. And I said, okay, bear with me, just do it one more time. And they looked at each other like, what the? And they did it a 3rd time, and I put my harmony in. Whatever sound that Crosby, Stills and Nash has was born in 40 seconds. We didn't work for it. We didn't do anything. It just happened.
You don't have to cry. I said, cry, my baby. You don't have to cry. I said, cry, my baby.
It's easy, absolutely. But with Crosby, Stills and Nash, it's a little more difficult because both David and Stephen are harmony freaks, as I am. And so they can go anywhere. And it just, what is most natural, and the thing that happens most is whoever wrote the song usually sings the melody, like in Helplessly Hoping. Stephen wrote that beautiful song, he sings the melody. So me and Cros go, okay, should I go above Stephen, or should I go underneath and then you go underneath me, or do you want to go above Stephen and I'll just stay here? You know, we just look at each other and go, okay, go. And it's easy. I don't know what to say. It's easy.
He runs, wishing he could fly high, only to trip at the sound of goodbye.
Whether in music or photography, knowing where he belongs seems key.
But I've had so many pictures taken of me. I know when I want to be cool. I know when I want to look like Elvis. I know all that, and I can't stand portraits like that. I don't want people to know that I'm there. I want to be invisible, because I think being invisible is the only way to get a true moment of something that I want to capture. And that portrait of Joni is a perfect example. She is spaced. She's listening to an acetate of a Clouds album, and she's somewhere else. She's on another planet listening. But I was there, luckily, to be able to capture it.
And Judy giving Stephen some advice.
Yeah, and kissing him on the cheek. Yeah. They didn't know I took that picture. They didn't know until years later, until I showed it to them. But to me, it's all the same. People ask me, how does a musician take photographs? And, it's all the same to me. It's all the energy. It's all my energy within me. I'm just trying to shoot off my mouth. I'm just trying to affect your life. I'm just trying to make you feel a little less crazy and a little less lonely, because that's what I want for myself. And I have this ability to communicate, and that's all I am. I communicate. No one has to listen to what I say. No one. But you're not going to shut me up.
Don't be your eyes, look in your eyes, they can't tell lies.
To learn more, visit grahamnash.com/art. For more arts and culture, visit azpbs.org/artbeat, where you'll find feature videos and information on upcoming art events. Funding for Artbeat Nation was made possible by contributions to 8 from viewers like you. Thank you.